Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning show rolls on here as sun's finally back out. Going to be a busy day for athletic stuff going on all around the area. As I mentioned off the top of the show, we are officially in countdown mode. Today marks 100 days out from the 2025 college football season for North Dakota State. The Bison will open up in a state they have never played a game before. That is South Carolina. That's where the Citadel is, and they will be welcoming in the Bison for that opener on August the 30th. I thought, well, okay, now it's time to start actually finding out about a school that I'm sure some fans have some idea about, others may not know anything. And to give us the lowdown, their athletic director, Art Chase, joins us on the show this morning to give us the 411 about the Bulldogs and the Bison. Thanks so much for doing this, bud. I really appreciate it. You're also 3 months into the job, so I know your predecessor scheduled the game. So are you taking a lot of heat about bringing in the national champs to Charleston?
Oh no! First off, thanks for having me. This is great and hard to believe we're 100 days from kickoff. But college football is a 365 days a year proposition. But you can smell the popcorn now. But obviously, as you mentioned, inheriting this contract. But what an opportunity! In speaking with Coach Drayton during the process, actually, and Coach Drayton was a player here when I was here before, so he and I have a 30-year relationship. And believe me, we talked about the season opener here for 2025. But as I mentioned, what an opportunity, to play against the elite program at the FCS level, and to do it in Johnson Haygood Stadium to kick off the 2025 season is fantastic. And obviously, we'll look forward to the return trip out your way in 2027. But to have North Dakota State come to Johnson Haygood Stadium in Charleston, South Carolina, as I mentioned, just a supreme opportunity, and it'll be fantastic.
How early in the application process for you did you know that? Or when did you find that out? Like, oh, okay, the football team's got NDSU on the schedule.
Yeah, I've known about it probably since the contract was signed. I think I lead the league here. I've been offered 4 jobs by this school, and I've taken 3 of them. So this school means a lot to me. So even when I was employed by another institution, always had my eye on what was going on here. And Coach Drayton and I, like I mentioned, have stayed in touch for all these years. So. Now I will admit, and this was from afar when the schedule, came about and this contract was signed. I raised an eyebrow, saying, "Okay, but let's go." In order to measure yourself. You want to play elite level competition, and so this is I keep going back to the word opportunity. But we'll have a fantastic atmosphere here, and want to put on a great host show for you all making the trip. And Charleston's an elite city that your fans and alums and the team itself will enjoy being here. I can't promise you about the weather. I believe we're slated for a high noon
Yeah.
kickoff. It's got potential to be pretty warm. So we do play outdoors here.
I, for people that aren't familiar with your school, it's a military school. This is different than 99% of the schools that North Dakota State has played at. Give us a day in the life on campus, and for Bison fans that are going to come to the game, what they're going to expect when they get there.
Yeah, so obviously our institution is really has very few peers. You've got the Citadel, you've got Virginia Military Institute, which is also a member of our Southern Conference. But we're approximately 2,200 young men and women. We're about just less than 15% female. So we're obviously heavily tilted there. And The difference between the Citadel and VMI, as opposed to the service academies, there's no military requirement post graduation. Now, about 30% of our graduates do end up enlisting
Mm.
in one of the armed services. So we are certainly, a feeder system into, our nation's military, which is great. But the young men and women that choose to come to the Citadel, it is a unique path, and I tell everybody, this is a very special place, but it is not for everyone. With the challenges that have we do have 5:30 a.m. PT training.
Mm.
That's part of our curriculum. We talk about, in the college athletics world, the double major in academics and athletics, and that is great. And there's nothing like playing intercollegiate athletics, but here at the Citadel, we have the triple major. But because you throw in the fact that our athletes, as undergrads, are a member of our Corps of Cadets,
Mm.
and they have certain responsibilities on that side of things that they have to adhere to. But that just makes this place so special. For those of your fans that do make the trek to Charleston, our entire Corps of Cadets will be at the football game,
Wow.
which creates a tremendous atmosphere. They march from campus to the stadium, which isn't far. The stadium's located just off of campus. They will march onto the field prior to the game. And then before kickoff, they'll matriculate into their student section and be a part of our game day atmosphere. We have an elite level tailgating atmosphere in and around our stadium. And so it'll be a great environment, but hopefully that gives you a
Yeah.
snapshot of our institution.
The level of athlete I'm always intrigued about that you're able to get. Can you describe that of the kind of athletes that are able to come to the Citadel?
Yeah, you're looking for a special breed. Obviously you want to compete, at the FCS level in football, but it comes with strings attached. And like I said, this place is special and it's not for everybody. And so, we are heavily recruiting in our own city, in our own state. Coach Drayton wants to win those two in recruiting first and foremost, and then obviously you're going to spread around, in the Southeast primarily, but through legacy, the incoming class for the institution that will matriculate, in August, is 23% legacy. So there is a heavy
Mm.
dose of generational, participation in our school, and that certainly, trickles down into athletics as well. So, but we're looking for the same football player that wants to compete for championships. Obviously, we've got a proud tradition with Southern Conference championships and FCS playoff appearances, over the course of a long time. But we're looking for that same student athlete that wants the challenge of being a member of our Corps of Cadets.
Art, North Dakota State has played nearly everybody in the SoCon. Wofford, Furman, East Tennessee State. We were down in Johnson City this past year. And heck, I think the following week, ETSU and the Citadel played a crazy game in Charleston. Describe what the challenge Coach Drayton had a nice year, won 5 games last year of getting back in the upper level of the SoCon.
Yeah, that's the trick. Obviously, Coach Drayton's first year, going winless, and that's part of the building blocks, right? And then to go from 0 to 5, and then some of those losses being really, really
Yeah.
competitive defeats a year ago. We're all about stacking small wins. The process of building a football program does not happen overnight, and so we just want to get first downs, move the chains, move the ball down the field, and then when we have the opportunity, that's when you're going to score your touchdown. And so the challenge for Coach Drayton here in year 3 is to just keep that momentum going. And obviously playing, North Dakota State, will give us a great bar to measure against, and that's just from the sheer competition level. And looking across the sidelines, obviously, what the coaches have done at North Dakota State for years now, decades, have set the standard, and so this gives us a great opportunity to see where we're at and see where we need to get to in order to be, in that realm. Because the bottom line is get in the playoff field.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of FCS football. Get in the playoff field, and then for 60 minutes, anybody can beat anybody. We've seen that, and that's the history of sport, going back, a million years. And so, getting to the playoffs is certainly the path that we're striving for. And we're lucky that we can compete for a conference championship along the way.
Last thing before I let you go, the anticipation for this. I know Charleston's a great sports city. It's Labor Day weekend, I know, or getting ready for it. What are the anticipation of getting the Bison there? What have you heard? And you expecting a big crowd for this game?
Yeah, we certainly are. I haven't had communication yet with the administration, at North Dakota State to see exactly where we feel we're going to be. But all I can tell you is Charleston is an elite city to visit. Obviously on the coast, it's a food city. There's so much history
Yeah.
here. I mean, you can spend a month here. I know, nobody wants to show up August 1st for an August 30 game, but if you got time to
All
kill,
right.
go ahead and do it, because you can't stay after the game because you got to get other games, that you got to go see. But I would encourage everybody that can make the trip. You will not be disappointed in the city of Charleston.
All right, this was awesome. I really appreciate the time. Thanks so much for this. I don't want to wish the summer away, but we're excited for the opener to get down there and look forward to seeing you in person here in about 3 months, okay?
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me on, and best of luck these next 99 days.
Yeah.
And then we'll see you on day 100.
Sounds good. Thanks, Art. Art Chase, athletic director at the Citadel, joining us on this Thursday morning. The Bulldogs and the Bison coming up on August the 30th, 11 a.m., WDAY will have the game for you, and can't be more excited about that. The Citadel obviously will come back to Fargo in 2027, I believe, as of now. And Todd Phelps will love me bringing this up. That's the only game they have scheduled in 2027. So we're working on that. But you saw it, and you saw some shots of the stadium. We'll do more of that as the summer goes along. Charleston is an elite city, and I think for Bison fans, they're going to do the double, do Charleston and Nashville back-to-back, because obviously the following week NDSU goes and plays against Tennessee State. It's a dynamite place. We're going to have Coach Drayton. I'll visit with him later today. We'll probably play some of that either tomorrow, maybe early next week. You see, they were 5-7 a year ago. They last made the FCS playoffs in 2016. It's been up and down over the last handful of years. They didn't win a game in 2023 and then burst out with 5 wins a season ago. And they're in the same league with all schools you guys know: East Tennessee State, Wofford, VMI, Furman, Western Carolina, Chattanooga, Mercer, Samford. The Bison have played 6 of those schools. I think the only ones they haven't played are the Citadel and Chattanooga, VMI. Those 3 they haven't. The rest, after they get the Citadel off, those are the only schools. And they obviously played Georgia Southern, former member of the SoCon. So, and a new place to go, that's going to be dynamite. I think in the lack of years where there's no FBS game, and obviously we're going to have that for the next couple at least. The next one on the schedule is until 2028. The new locations are up there. I think there was a good crowd that went to Johnson City last year to go to Tennessee. There'll be, I think, a really good crowd that goes to Nashville, maybe twice. We'll see what happens with this team. I think there's some interest going to South Carolina. There was certainly interest when the Bison went to Delaware. We were out, Eric and I were there in Maryland. That's a long ways from Fargo. There was a decent crowd that went there. We're not that far from Towson, from Baltimore to the crazy thing about the East Coast, and I say this, you don't have to go far to hit a major city. It really, from Boston, New York, Philly, D.C., Baltimore, because that's right, just outside of Towson, Charleston, Atlanta. I mean, it's crazy like that. It's a fun part about it, and you can make a fun trip out of it. I'm interested to see the amount of fans are going to go to Charleston coming up here in 100 days. We'll be there. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up, get you ready for a great Sports Thursday on tap. Heck, get outside and enjoy the weather as well. We wrap up Hot Mic after this.